Well, there's a bit to talk to this morning. The Liberal Senator and the former ambassador to Israel, Dave Sharma, joins us now. Dave, all allies believe very strongly that Hamas needs to be eradicated, but it isn't and hasn't been. So what difference is Marco Rubio going to make here to shove them out?
Well, I think what Marco Rubio's visit does, and following on from Netanyahu's visit to the White House does, and Trump's quite firm messaging on this, is it says to the Arab world, which still has levers over Hamas, diplomatic, financial, military as well, that there can be no place for Hamas in the future governance of Gaza. And I think President Trump is effectively questioning or instructing, if you like, the Arab world to do more to help in the disarmament of Hamas. That means partly building up an alternative, a credible and reformed Palestinian Authority, but it also means strangling Hamas of its financing, its military supplies, and its diplomatic space, which it still continues to have.
Do you believe the Arab world is willing to move Hamas on?
Well, look, I think this is a conversation that's in progress. I mean, King Abdullah of Jordan was in Washington last week. President Sisi of Egypt will be there this week. Marco Rubio is going to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates after this. It's certainly a change for them. I mean, generally their attitude has been the Palestinian problem is not ours to solve. That's been their attitude for the last 20 years. President Trump has effectively called time on this approach and says, no, it is your problem to solve as well. We'll help you. Israel will play a part, but you need to be part of this. And that's going to be difficult for them. I don't doubt it. But I think you're already seeing them start to make signs that they want to accommodate this new order.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good point from Trump, though. I mean, isn't it? That they should be getting it. It is their problem, but they should be sorting it out.
I think it's perfect. I mean, it's not unlike President Trump's approach to the rest of the world. He's said to all parts of the world, we are no longer going to be guarantor of your security and custodian of your problems. You need to be doing more to guarantee your own security, and you need to be doing more to fix your own problems, whether that's Ukraine in Europe or whether it's Hamas and Gaza in the Middle East. And I think, this reflects a new US approach to the world, and all allies, partners, friends and adversaries are having to learn how to accommodate this.
So on the point of Ukraine and in particular Saudi Arabia, it does seem a pretty big oversight, and it's been done purposefully, to leave Ukraine out of the Saudi talks. What do you think the angle is here?
Look, I suspect that what the United States wants to do is test or gauge what Russian bottom lines are without anyone else in the room, and whether there is scope for an agreement to be made. I'm not comfortable with Ukraine, having a deal made over their heads that concerns the future of their country. But we are in the early stages of this process yet. And bear in mind that the United States and Russia have not had direct high-level contact now for, it must be 3 or 4 years since just before the outbreak of this war. So I think it makes sense to sit down directly and gauge what their intentions are, but certainly, going forward, I would expect Ukraine to be involved. And bear in mind, President Trump had a call with Putin last week. Immediately afterwards, he called Zelenskyy, Ukraine's president, to brief him on what took place on that call. I mean,
like I said, it did seem an oversight not to have Ukraine, but your view is that that's coming. You've got this meeting in Saudi Arabia with Russia. So to simplify that, they'll work out what they want. They'll take that meeting to this breakaway meeting that's happening involving the Europeans, and then come to some middle ground there, perhaps. So it's kind of like a first stage or a first step.
Yeah, look, I think, like a lot of Trump's diplomacy, people shouldn't necessarily see the first step as how everything is meant to continue. It's the opening of a negotiation is not necessarily how it's going to proceed, and it's particularly true with this president, I think.
Hey, just before we go, an interesting point from Matt Thistlethwaite a short time ago, just to bring it back to the RBA decision tomorrow. When I asked him, should there be a rate cut, trying to figure out where they were at this morning, and he mentioned, well, the mortgage owners and the mortgage holders and those who are doing it tough, they've, helped Australia through this current crisis and basically deserve a rest. It was kind of like an underhanded comment to Michelle Bullock. So that's one of the talking points from Labor this morning. So that's gone straight. They know what they're doing. That's gone straight to Michelle Bullock. Can that be effective?
I think Michelle Bullock has rightly demonstrated her independence and the RBA's independence from political pressure from the government of the day. And they
Can
should.
she withstand this kind of pressure, though? I mean, it's coming from everywhere.
No, I don't think we should. I mean, the RBA is independent for a reason, because we believe it acts in the best interest of the country when it is. And I'd say, what's in the government's gift here and what they've been singularly failing to do is to help the RBA do their job by adjusting fiscal policy, taking stimulus out of the economy, not spending so much, not spending so profligately, which would make the RBA's job of controlling inflation with interest rate rises easier. But instead, over the last 2.5 years, we've seen this government spend record amounts of public money, which, as the Reserve Bank Board themselves have said, has made their job of controlling inflation that much harder.
All right. That'll be on tomorrow afternoon. We'll see what way it goes. Thank you, Dave. Good to chat as always. Talk to you again soon.